The Yeha temple is the sacred house, Bayat al-Muqaddas, an Abyssinian Yeha's word meaning the place of worship where you put the Ark of the Covenant, the Tabut. Yeha temple was the place that preserved the Ark before it moved to its current location. As for the area that is called Bayat al-Maqdis, that we know in Palestine right now, it was not called that during the time the Muslims entered Egypt. This area was called Il-Iliya, and the proof lies in the covenant of Omar ibn al-Khattab, the second caliphate to Prophet Muhammad. When Muslims entered Palestine, Omar established this covenant with the indigenous population, which is known as the Covenant of Omar, and it has been saved until now as an official artifact that shows the tolerance of Muslims with their neighbours. In this covenant, Omar offered security and protection to all the residents of Palestine after the lands were opened by Amr bin al-As and Abu Ubaidah bin al-Jarrah. Omar wrote in his covenant, "In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, this is the assurance of safety which the servant of God, Umar, the commander of the faithful, has given to the people of Il-Iliya. He has given them an assurance of safety for themselves, for their property, their churches, their crosses, the sick and healthy of the city, and for all the rituals which belong to their religion. Their churches will not be inhabited by Muslims and will not be destroyed. Neither they, nor the land on which they stand, nor their cross, nor their property will be damaged." This implies that the region in Palestine that we refer to as Bayat al-Maqdis did not hold such a name back then. Rather, it was called Il-Iliya. Second, Bayat al-Maqdis in Islam is considered to be the first Qibla. In other words, the direction that Muslims used to face when they prayed before moving this Qibla towards the Kaaba. Third, and key to this argument, is that Bayat al-Maqdis had to be present before the revelation of the verse that says, "God is the Exalted One, who took his servant one night for a visit from the Al-Haram Mosque or Masjid in Mecca to the Aqsa Mosque or Masjid." And this applies to the Yeha temple, but it does not apply to the location that was referred to recently as Bayat al-Maqdis in Palestine. In fact, at the time of the revelation of this verse, there were no mosques in Palestine at all. What is referred to as the Aqsa Mosque, which is in Palestine and was built in the Umayyad age. The Yeha temple, on the other hand, is the oldest place of worship which still exists today on the Abyssinian highlands, the Tur, way before Islam and Christianity. Fourth, the region that has the Yeha temple on the Abyssinian highlands, the Tur, is named the Tigray region. Tigray has two famous cities. One is called Adwa and the other is called Aksua. Exactly, you heard that right, Aksua. It is the capital of the Tigray region and is known as the Sacred City. On Ethiopian maps, it is recorded as Aksum. Nevertheless, the old sources clarify that this region was called Aksua, not Aksum. In the Abyssinian language, for linguistic reasons, popular nouns follow the weight of ala fa'ul. They use this linguistic rhyme in naming the tribes, countries, and adjectives. For example, ala-Jahbul, ala-Slum, al-Sha'ub, al-Azlum, al-Aruk, al-Aksum. That's why the name changed from Aksua to Aksum. However, the real name of this region, where the Yeha temple, Bayat al-Maqdis, is located, is called Aksua. The reference to the Al-Haram Mosque or Masjid in the verse I just mentioned, "God is the Exalted One, who took his servant one night for a visit from the Al-Haram Mosque or Masjid in Mecca to the Aqsa Mosque or Masjid," is the region of Mecca where the Kaaba is, and obviously the reference to the Aqsa Mosque is the current region of Aksum in Abyssinian Tigray, where the Yeha temple or Bayat al-Maqdis is. This is a key point because during Isra or Prophet Muhammad's journey at night, he was not in the vicinity of the Kaaba, he was lying on his bed in Mecca. God mentioned in the verse that he started Isra from Al-Haram Masjid, referring to Mecca, not simply the mosque as we know now. That's because the word Masjid means the place that God is worshipped in the form of prostration or sajda in Arabic. It's worth mentioning that worship through prostration or sajda in Arabic is the means of prayer that distinguished Abyssinian churches and temples until today. Yes, Christians who worship in the Abyssinian highlands, the Tur, perform prostration or sajda in Arabic in worship, exactly the same as Muslims and contrary to Christian worship in the East and West. The temples and churches of Aksua or Aksum that are located in Tigray followed similar methods of worship like mosques or masjids even before the revelation of Islam. It's also worth mentioning that the current Dome of the Rock inside what is currently called the Aqsa Mosque or Masjid in Palestine was built after the advent of Islam. It was built by the Umayyad Caliphate Abdul Malik bin Marwan in the year 688 AD.